Here we are going to look at how we can use an arc to connect two straight lines together, how to use an arc to connect two straight lines together. Here we are applying the principle of tangency, and it has to do with the connection of two straight lines with the use of an arc. So we are going to look at it in these three different ways. The first one is that we have the two straight lines at right angle to each other. The two lines are at right angle to each other. So that will be the first one that we'll be looking at. Okay, so as we progress, we look at others. So the radius of the arc that we are to use to connect the two straight lines together is 20 millimeters. So let's see how this can be done. Okay, so here we are to draw a horizontal line. So we have a horizontal line, just a short horizontal line like this, and then we are going to draw also a short vertical line like this that will be at a right angle. So as you can see, it is at a right angle to this horizontal line. So the angle between them is 90 degrees. So let's call this point, let's say this point is point B. Okay, then we have this point to be point A. So this is line AB, and then this is line BC. So I have this line to be line BC. So the next thing that we are going to do is that since the radius of the arc that we want to use to connect these two straight lines together is 20 millimeters, so with the ruler, so from this point B, we have to take a measurement of 20 millimeters. So we take 20 millimeters to the right side on line BC, 20 millimeters to the right side on line BC. So this is 20 millimeters here. Okay, I didn't take it from 0, I took it from 1. So this is 20 millimeters. Then here also, so from this point B up line AB, so we take 20 millimeters. So this is 20 millimeters. Then the next thing that we are to do is that we are to draw a vertical center line through this point. Through this point, we draw a vertical center line like this. So here we have this. Then coming to this point with the T-square on line AB, so we draw a horizontal center line. So we draw a horizontal center line like this. All right, so we have this. All right, so the two center lines, they intersect at this point. So let's call this point, let's call it point O here. So this is point O. So now, so we have formed a square of length 20 millimeters, as we took 20 millimeters up here and 20 millimeters here, and we're able to draw these two center lines that intersect at this point O here. Then the next thing that we are going to do is that, so we take the compass and we put the pin here. Okay, so we put the pin at this point O. I will extend the pen to this point, okay, to this point. So then we are to draw an arc. So we are going to draw an arc. So I can take it, so from here, so we take it from here up to this point. So just turn it like this. All right, so we have drawn the arc, as you can see it here now. So we have drawn the arc. So we have connected these two straight lines together with an arc. So what I'm going to do is to blend them for them to have the same thick line. Okay, so to be uniform. So I'm going to make this line, make it a thick line, and also I make this line, I will also make it a thick line like this. So I have this line, these two lines blended together, so with an arc. So this is how to connect two straight lines together with the use of an arc when they are at angle 90 degrees to each other. So this will be the first video in this particular work. So we meet on the next one, looking at the two straight lines also at different angle or at another angle. Thank you.